What's up? What's up? What's up? Yes, you heard my voice. You know what time it is. You know what's going on. The HUP is back. The Hodges University podcast, episode 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I said episode 4. We are here. And I told you, like I did in episode 1, I have some very extraordinary, special VIP guests. You know, someone asked me, did I mean to say that? Yes. All those adjectives, I mean to do that. Extraordinary, VIP, special, yes. Those are the kind of guests that are here on the podcast. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be here bringing you this podcast once more. I just want y'all to hear the excitement in my voice. I'm so excited to have two of the most beautiful ladies to walk the Hodges campus, Miss Michelle Zamniak and Miss Angie Manley. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad to have you beautiful ladies here today. Please talk to our fans. Let them know who you are. How are you? How is your week going? Just talk to them a little bit. Let me stop talking, and I will give you beautiful ladies the floor finally.
Oh, TJ, you are amazing.
That's how I got to do it every time. That's how I have to do it every time.
Well, can you come with me everywhere I go?
He could be our hype man.
Yeah, there we go. Well, my name is Angie Manley, and I'm the Associate Vice President of University Advancement here at Hodges.
Wow, that's a big title.
It's a lot to say.
And we're definitely going to get into why that title's so long as well.
Okay, good. I hope we do. And I hail from New Jersey.
New Jersey?
Yeah.
Wow.
The fountain of humanity.
Is that what they say about Jersey?
That's what they say about Jersey.
Okay.
That's where our president's from.
Oh, he didn't tell us that.
Yeah.
He's
a Jersey boy.
Okay. What about you over there? How you doing? How you feeling? Welcome to the HUP.
I'm doing great, TJ. Thanks for having me. You really pumped us up and made me feel good about myself.
That's how we do it here. That's
I don't know that I always feel that way when I'm coming to work every day. I'm the Director of Professional Education. My name is Michelle Zamniak. So professional education and training is the non-credit side of the house here at Hodges University. Yeah.
The non-credit?
Yeah. Do you know about
non-credit,
that?
like, talking like my credit score, like non-credit? Like, what do you mean by
yeah,
no,
not that kind of credit.
Oh, okay.
You know, you need a lot of college credits to get a degree. But at Hodges University, we have other training that you can actually get more quickly than a degree. Non-credit certificates, it'll get you right out to work.
Wow.
Yeah.
All righty. I definitely cannot wait to get more and talk about that. But before we get into, the Hodges stuff, let me ask you ladies some questions. Let me talk to you just a little bit. I guess let's just start here. How long have you ladies been living down in the Sunshine State? How long have you ladies been here?
Well, I've been here 5 years, full time. We're going on 6. And it's been beautiful. I've enjoyed it. I miss my New Jersey people a bit, but it's beautiful down here.
The people of New Jersey, what do they call them, New Jerseyans? Or?
New Jerseyans.
Oh, okay.
Sure, jerseys.
Jerseys. Well, shout out to all the New Jerseyans then. There we
Perfect.
go. Everybody that's listening. Very nice. How long have you been in Florida?
I've been here longer than I'd like to say. It's been over 30 years. It's hard to believe. Yeah, it was
nice.
I had just finished high school when I came.
Wow.
So, yeah, I wasn't too sure about that first icebreaker question you gave us. It was about, a little negative.
Yeah, so, because it's always good. It's always, beautiful sunny skies and palm trees. But I want to know, and probably the people want to know, what is your least favorite thing about living in Florida or about Florida, period? Your least favorite thing?
That was hard for me because it's my home. 30 years, man. I don't want to talk about anything I don't like here. No, and I had to rack my brain to think of it.
Okay.
Fire ants, that's what I pick. Fire ants.
That's a good one.
Ooh, that's good.
It's a good one because if you're not from Florida, that's not a big deal to you. It's not like ants. Like, get out of here. Like, I'm not scared of ants. But fire ants are a different kind of of ants.
Yeah, you got to watch out for them.
Absolutely.
You don't want to learn the lesson the hard way like I
Wow.
did.
Yeah. I had one run in with fire ants, and that's all it took.
There you
That
go.
was it.
There you go. Angie, you better make sure you're careful.
Yeah, no sitting on a hill.
That's true. That's true. Sometimes when you bend over to tie a kid's shoe, it can happen to you too. And once I was washing the van and I stepped off the ladder right into one.
That's all it takes.
Yep.
That's all it takes. Once, yeah. I've been there. Definitely been there. Wow.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite thing about the Sunshine State?
Yeah, this was not a hard one for me to come up with. It was like right on the tip of my tongue. I think the easiest question I'll answer all afternoon. The air conditioning.
That's
People put the air conditioning on way
Yes.
too high.
Yes.
So I get
Too
in my
low. You don't like it so
Yes.
cold.
Yeah, too low. Too low. That's
Yeah.
right.
I knew what she meant. I knew exactly what she
It's
meant.
on too low. So you
Yes.
walk into a building and you're
Anywhere.
freezing.
Yes.
I take a sweater with me here every place.
Everybody
Yes.
always teases you, right?
Oh my gosh.
That
It's like turn that air off.
is a thing, though. Any
Yes.
building you walk into Florida is below zero. It's crazy. Crazy, but it's true. Wow. My least favorite thing is, I'm going to have to say, is the U-turns. The amount of U-turns you have to make is ridiculous.
I just made a U-turn this morning.
Man. And listen, don't miss your turn. Like, don't miss the U-turn you're supposed to take. Oh, man. Good luck. Good luck getting to your destination on time.
TJ, where are you from?
I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and we do not have that many U-turns.
How long have you been down here?
This is going for year 6 for me.
You
Very
guys are the
nice.
same
Yeah,
almost.
you're number
Yeah,
6.
yeah. Irma.
Yeah, yes. That was my first big introduction.
Yeah,
Yep.
mine too.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And
When you guys came then, Irma was when I started working at Hodges that year.
wow. See,
Wow.
look at that. See, I knew it was something. I knew it was something about. I knew it.
Yeah, we're aligned.
Very nice. Wow. So yeah. So Florida, we do love you, but there are some things. There are a couple things that we dislike. So yeah, there you have it. All right, let's move on to the next one. What is one of your guilty pleasures? I know people don't like to talk about, their guilty pleasures, but just to give the listeners, a little tad bit of who you are, what's one of your guilty pleasures?
Yeah, this was an easy one too.
Yeah, where's the list?
All right. Bloody Marys on Sunday morning. Spicy.
Ooh.
Spicy. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You
Get the
like-
paper.
So are you, do you build up the Bloody Mary to where there's food stacked up, hanging out, dripping out?
No.
Okay.
I'm a celery and olives in my
Simple.
Bloody Mary and
Simple.
spicy.
Basic.
Yeah, Tabasco sauce for sure.
So you have it on every Sunday? Is it a
I
ritual?
do my
tradition?
best. I try.
Very nice. And do you usually make them yourself?
My husband does. So yeah, he does a pretty good job. Sometimes we have to go out. Sometimes we have to go to the Circle Bar or downtown Naples or Fort Myers. It's always a good
Very
good
nice.
road trip.
That's a good little guilty pleasure right there.
Yeah, it's a
A
good way to
Bloody-
start the Sunday.
A Bloody Mary on a Sunday.
Sounds good to me.
It does. What about one of you? What's one? I know you have many, but what is one?
I just indulged last week that coconut macaroon from the French bakery. So good. So good.
Is that something? Do you do that often or?
Not very often. I try not to.
Very nice. Wow, that sound delicious actually.
It's really good.
What about a punchki? You guys know what punchkis are?
No.
Yes. So,
I think I've had them in St. Louis.
Yes.
It's a breakfast thing stuffed with
That's exactly what it is.
Polish. Is that right?
That's like ding,
Yes.
ding, ding, ding,
Yeah,
ding,
yeah,
ding.
yeah. I've spent a lot of time in St.
Yeah, I
Louis
see.
too. We'll have to
Wow.
talk about that.
So yes,
They're so
A
good.
punchki
yes.
or a pierogi?
No,
a
this-
punchki.
It's like a roll, like a little soft, not sweet donut, stuffed with anything you want.
Yes.
Eggs and sausage,
Yes.
right? Oh, it's so,
So
good.
I'm
Pepperoni.
gonna get the
What's your favorite?
the clip from episode 1 when I was trying to describe it, and I'm gonna match it with your description of a punchki.
Oh,
Like I was trying my best, but I think you did a much better job in describing.
I knew
it
what
to
you were
the-
talking about. And when you had that, I was like, I want to talk to him about St. Louis so much because I've been learning so much about St. Louis.
That's awesome.
And they got their special pizzas with
Yes,
that crispy
yes,
crust
yes,
and the
yes.
Provel
That is true.
cheese.
That
That
is
cheese is not my favorite.
true. And it's okay. It's okay.
Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. So far so good. The people are starting to see.
Okay.
They're starting to see who you are. Like, oh, okay. Okay. All right, one more little ice hawkbreaker question I got for you is, here at Hodges, I see smiles all day, every day. What is something recently, can be inside of Hodges or outside of Hodges, that made you smile?
Ooh. Well, all right, maybe more in a general way, is trying to practice gratitude every day, right? So you try to find something in every day,
Yes.
whether if it's the greenest grass that you see, and you think, wow, that's so cool that grass is so green, or the bluest sky, or you hear somebody speaking a different language down in the admissions area, and it just makes you smile, right? It's all good stuff.
Absolutely.
Because that's all the gratitude. If you can find the little gratitude every day, that's going to be the stuff that gets you through.
Wow, very nice. It sounds like it's the little things for you.
Yes, it is.
It's the little things.
It is.
It's awesome.
You can find some humor, too. There was some inspection or something going on this morning, and we saw our facilities manager walk into the men's restaurant with two women. They both had clipboards, so I think it was some type of inspection or something. But
It was a measurement.
yeah, I smiled real big on that one. It was funny. But I'm with you, Angie. Like if you look around, you can see something. We went out in the boat this weekend. We have some family in town, and I was watching my significant other just like help the guys, help my family, like bait their hooks and get them in the right position to catch the fish. And it was, I don't know, makes you feel good to see that stuff.
Michelle's my barometer.
Kind of lifted your cheekbones a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome. The little things for you too.
Yeah.
Aww.
Listen, when you've been around as long as we have, I think you have to find those little things to get you through it.
For sure. Something for me recently was I got the chance to be at my first ESL celebration.
Oh,
They have their annual celebration. Just to kind of measure where they have an awesome party, and I got the chance to witness that and see that, and it just made me smile the entire day just to see. They got to tell their stories of where they came from, being at level 0 or level 1 to where they at now, and it's just a beautiful story because they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but as a witness and they hear their story, I'm like, oh, there's a big light. And they don't even know it yet, but I saw it, and that's just made me smile because you can see their journey before they do. Little stuff like that. I guess that's a big thing for me, but it made me smile recently.
I love how that group comes together
Me
as a
too.
community.
Yes.
And the food's so good, right?
It is so good. It is so good. So, yes, that made me definitely smile recently. And a huge shout out to the ESL program and all the directors, Dr. Alicia Cali, and everyone who's involved. And, in the ESL, just little stuff like that. Awesome.
That is cool. I like how you just said, though, that what you really like seeing is that you see the light at the end of the tunnel before they even see it.
Yes.
And I love that makes you smile because I
does.
think that's at the heart of everything we try to do here at Hodges, which is to give our students hope and inspiration and energy that they can persevere and they can get through and they can do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You are listening to your new favorite podcast, the Hodges University Podcast. What's up? Be sure to check us out on all the social media platforms, from the Amazon to the Apple, all the way to the Spotify and everything in between. All you got to do is press that link and press play. What's up? Alrighty, yes, we are back, and like I said, some very VIP, extraordinary, special guests are in the building. Michelle and Angie from Hodges University. Ladies, I'm done talking. Talk to the people just firstly about how did you become Hodges? When I say become Hodges, how did you become a part of the Hodges family? What was your journey like to get here? And what do you do now? If we can get into a little bit of detail about that. And yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll start with the one that was here the shortest amount of time, and then go to Michelle.
Yeah, I don't know, Angie. I don't know if I really know the story.
Well, I came down to Southwest Florida for a job in end of life. My career up in New Jersey was senior care and end of life programs. And I did that for a few years down here, and I needed a change. I think my time with that was coming to a close, and I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Meyer, and we connected as Jersey people do, and he was telling me about the school and what the school does, and its drive to empower people, and its drive and mission to provide an academic environment where adult learners can step into it and pursue whatever kind of career or opportunity or workforce, work life they wanted. And I was inspired.
Was that a whole other ball game for you, or were you kind of familiar with this kind of space as for adult learning? And
Nope, it all kind of a new world for me. I had served on a board for a small private school up in New Jersey for several years, so that was pretty much my exposure to the academic world.
And you achieved your education in a more traditional way.
Yep. I went to a 4-year university, and
Right after high school?
Right after high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I had not pursued anything above a bachelor's in all that time. I thought about it. It was one of those things where I always wanted to, but time, cost, energy, effort, all of those factors, raising children,
big factors,
come into play, and you put your own kind of desires like that on the back burner. But coming down to Florida, and my kids were in college and kind of starting this next phase, and then changing careers after meeting Dr. Meyer when he provided an opportunity for me to step into fundraising, which is university advancement. That's, in essence,
Some
that's
people
what,
don't know that.
I know, I think not. We try to keep it under the wraps. We try to keep it like low
Not
key.
anymore, baby.
No.
Cat's out of the bag. We're going to raise money at this nonprofit.
We are doing it. So, so finding out that Hodges was a private nonprofit 501c3, where its mission, again, is to raise funds, or maybe not the whole overarching mission. The mission of the school is to help people fulfill their academic goals. But the mission of the foundation or the university advancement is to raise funds to help people do that. As we know that we have a population that is traditionally not first generation college educated students. They are working full time.
So when the opportunity got presented to you from Dr. John, how was that? Were you a little apprehensive at first? Were you ready to take on a challenge? Did you not know because it was an unfamiliar space for you? So what was that emotion like when the opportunity came?
Yeah, I was. I really didn't want to do it. I was nervous, and but true to form, Dr. Meyer is probably one of the greatest believers in people, and he said, give it a shot. I think you can do this.
Yes.
And that's what you need in life, right? You need people to kind of give you a shot in the arm. And,
absolutely.
And really see into you and really see that, I think you really have the capability to do this. And so that did it for me.
Yes, that's all it took. And one thing I learned about Dr. John from this podcast, guys, is he loves change. He believes that change is like success's biggest catalyst, in quotes. Yes, Dr. John, in quotes. So that was interesting that you provided that background story, because that's confirmation to what he said.
Yeah.
He said it was time, and
right.
Yeah,
and he's a great motivator, and he's a great believer in what he does. And I think when you surround yourself with people that feel good about what they're doing, believe in what they're doing, it's contagious.
Okay, let me pause you right there. Let's get into Michelle's side. 6 years ago, how did you end up here at Hodges?
I guess it goes back a little further than that, actually. About 12 years ago, I changed professions. And I worked in independent private school.
Look at that word again. Change.
Yeah.
There it is again.
I had spent a long time there working for a great leader and kind of had topped out and went back to school to get a bachelor's degree and kind of realized that higher education would be my next step. And then I was sitting in new higher orientation at a different college in this town with Dr. Meyer.
Really?
And I leaned over and I'm like, hey, I think you're my boss. So I have been so fortunate in my career to work for some really great leaders. And I hear some stories about people who don't have, supervisors or leaders who are supportive of their advancement. And, John's taught me everything I know about higher education. And he left. He was my dean over there. And when he left, I was so emotional. I just started looking for other work because it was almost less about what I was doing and where I was working and more about a leader and a team of people to work with. So it was just a few months later, and he said, hey, you want to come over here and join what I'm trying to do over here? So, yeah.
So he doubled back to come get you or to find you.
Well, I kind of always was like, hey, can you put me in your suitcase? Please take me with you and let me know when you're ready. And so it's been a wild ride since I came over. I mean, I came right after Irma. I think I started the day they came back from being closed for that hurricane.
Wow. So you came in on a kind of a rocky
For
restart.
sure. And and then so that
wasn't scary for you coming in at that point in time?
Well, word on the street is I'm fearless. That's how I learned.
Okay.
I love the change. I really do. And then shortly thereafter, he became the president of Hodges. And I've just been in. Well, I was calculating the other day about 8 different positions here. I've learned so much through each of those experiences and feel like I've been able to impact some positive change at this institution.
So what is your position now?
Currently, I just in the last year moved from the traditional credit-bearing side of the house, which is where there's AS degrees and master's degrees and bachelor's degrees and all that, over to professional education and training, which is non-credit, those kind of rapid trainings where we get them in, we get them trained, and we get them to work. And I'm a workforce girl. That's how I was raised up. I'm from Pennsylvania, small town in Pennsylvania. When I moved down here, I went to Lee County Votech. So I've been through it. And that's just not very many people in my family have advanced degrees. And Angie, you didn't even mention while you've been here, you've got a master's degree.
I did. I got my Juris Master's.
Wow.
Which was very cool.
Wow.
Yeah, Dr. Meyer was completely supportive of that, and it was hard. It took a lot of time, a lot of my Saturdays and Sundays, but it was great. It was really great to do.
I really respected you doing that.
Light at the end of the tunnel. People see the light before you see the light, and that's
I love
awesome.
that.
That's awesome.
Michelle is, but I'd want to jump in here because Michelle is like the glue. She's that invisible glue around here. She's very fluid. She jumps in whenever you need her. She can tell people to go to hit the highway in the most kindest way. She's
just
the
invite
person
them to leave.
But she's the one that I go to. She's everybody who knows Michelle. She's extremely calm. She's extremely engaged, and she's extremely knowledgeable about all things Hodges. And I think that's one of the biggest assets the university has, is someone like Michelle who will jump in and do whatever's needed on the drop of a dime. So
Thanks, Angie. Thanks for saying that.
Seriously.
I've been, you have your, what do you call them, Dr. John-isms?
Yes.
So back in the day, it was the grease between the wheels. So
There you go.
similar analogy.
yeah.
Yeah. Another
Ooh,
car
grease.
pun.
I guess that's how he thinks, the automotive mind.
So that goes next into, I guess, my next point is between you two ladies as VP of University Advancement.
Associate,
sorry, AKA funding.
Yeah.
And wow, yes, your title. Who has the most important job?
Oh, jeez.
I know both are important. I know both are instrumental in this university. But who has the more important job?
Well, I don't think you can have a most important job, because I think the only way that this type of company, if you will, university environment can work is collaboratively. So if people aren't working together, it doesn't matter. You could be the president, or you could be the first impressions person sitting down there. All of the pieces of the puzzle have to come together and have to work together. They're all integral. They're all amazingly important for this whole machine to move.
I concur. I need Angie, and I need the person answering that phone at the front desk. And I need TJ coming to our lecture series and promoting it on social media. I mean, all the pieces. And that's the way I love to work collaboratively. It energizes me to work with people. But that's, we were talking about women in business too a little bit. And that mentality, like to have to work with an associate vice president who answers a question that way makes me feel really proud to be here. Because, thank you, Angie.
Thank you.
Because I've seen, I told you at the other place and at different places in my life, a lot of times women who have risen to a high position, they've maybe gotten there by being really tough and having to keep up with what may be considered this like big corporate male energy. And I've always appreciated the women in leadership positions who really mentor and bring other women up with them and value them.
Wow, that's awesome. And that's something
thank you, Angie.
Oh, thank you. Gosh, I'll pay you later.
I'll have a Bloody Mary.
On your boat.
Oh, yeah, you can come.
Okay.
But that's something that kind of surprised me. Well, I'm not even going to say kind of. When I arrived here at Hodges in January, seeing so many women or minority in these big positions, I was like, yes. Like, it just gave me a light. I don't know. It just gave me like, okay, yes, this is where I want to be, because I was seeing different people in these upper positions, and it just gave me hope in it. Okay, that's awesome. So what is it like, and what do you think, why is it important, to have women in, these upper level positions to where they have the big seat at the big table? Not just a seat, but a big seat at the big table. What is that like, and why is that important?
Here especially, and Angie, you know the actual numbers, I think, better than I might, about it being a reflection of our student body. I think it's so important to have the leadership, and not just the leadership, but just the employment of the institution reflect the students that we serve. And what is it, 30% women? What?
It's closer to 66% women.
Wow. See, there you go.
So I think it's interesting, coming from the Northeast, coming down here to Florida, I was much more familiar or comfortable or exposed to a lot more diversity than coming down to Naples. My first job down in Naples, I was taken aback by the lack of, gender diversity, ethnic diversity, all of those type of things. And when you just said that, TJ, it kind of made me think about, again, maybe one of the reasons I left where I was is I knew coming up here to Fort Myers, I was going to be a little closer to home, and home being the diversity that I really missed from being up north. So I think that was one of those, aspects that drew me here to the university as well.
Yep, I had that same sentiment. Like, seriously, I was just
Oh,
a
you
breath
were in
of fresh air.
Naples. I remember
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes, it was a breath of fresh air to be in another part where you're like, oh yes, I got a chance. I have a chance, But I'm being honest and transparent because that's the truth, and that's why I enjoy waking up every morning and driving to work and knowing I'm being a diverse environment, an environment that actually honor and hear my opinion. So that was very eye-opening and different. And now look what we're doing now.
Yeah.
We have a podcast studio that
It's awesome.
that I put out there,
Yep.
and it came to about. So little stuff like this is huge. And that's a big reason why Hodges is on the up and up. Yes, people, the up and up. I said it. Yes. So that's awesome. And like I said, it was just so eye-opening to see you ladies. Like, I was like, yeah, this is. Yeah. So
That's cool.
I think it's very important for women to have not just a seat at the table, but a voice as well. And when I hear ladies talk, I smile because once again, that's something I'm not used to seeing or hearing. So shout out to y'all.
Oh, that's really nice.
Big
That's
shout
very
out.
kind.
Big shout out to y'all.
I know I'm going to do my my plug for young women in athletics. I think it's really important for them for anybody to be on a team, because I do think that this is what it's about.
What was your sport, Angie?
I played lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
Yeah.
I would have never thought.
Yeah, but you got the assist sometimes.
Yep.
Sometimes you got the goal, and sometimes you had to run back on defense, and you didn't get the glory of the goal. And
What was your position?
I was a center.
Okay.
Center
Okay,
forward attack.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I
Yeah.
see that. In
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Look, she started to light up a little bit when she talked about that.
I played basketball, and guess what my
Shooting
strength
guard.
was? No.
Oh, I could see you as a guard.
Thank you for that. Thank you. My trophy was in sportsmanship, and I was like the
awesome.
captain.
Yes.
I was like,
I can see it. Now I definitely can
Yep.
see it.
I was
Okay.
never really that good of an athlete, but I loved being on a team.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you
it's
got to
fun.
be good at something, right? If you're
Yeah.
part of a team, you have to add something to the team. Be good at something, even if it's, being the
Rallying
motive.
'em.
Yeah, that's important.
Because the team can humble you too
Absolutely.
when you need to be humbled,
Absolutely.
Right.
and when you need to pass the ball, and you need to trust
Yes.
your teammates to be able to pick up when you're not having that good day. So
For sure.
We play football, TJ.
Huge football fan, and yes, I played football all my life.
what's your team?
Well, it was St. Louis Rams, but of course they moved to the West
Yeah.
Coast. So being down in
Chiefs.
Florida,
Chiefs.
being down
Philadelphia Eagles. Go Birds.
Being down in Florida, it's been Tampa. It's been Tampa Bay Bucks. Yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, it's the GOAT left. I'm just out in no man's land now.
I like hockey, and I love the Blues. But we go see them in Tampa.
Yes,
Mhm.
and the thing about hockey is I love being there live.
Me too.
Too much on TV, I don't really care too much. But being at a live hockey game is lit.
We've
Yes.
been to a hockey game together.
Let's go guys.
Let's go.
Let's go to Everblades.
I'm down.
Okay, let's do it.
Hopefully on a
Hodges night. We're gonna do a
hopefully-
Hodges night at the Everblades.
Hopefully on a Sunday
Let's do a Sunday
with a Bloody Mary.
We'll have- in the parking
Angie
lot.
likes to drink beer at those games. We had so much fun.
I have a wide,
Yes. Yeah.
Me too.
Ladies,
palate.
can you tell me what is a normal day like? Normal day for you at Hodges. What is that like usually for you?
We were talking about this before we came in. I don't think any day is normal.
No.
I mean, I can come in with a list of tasks that I want to complete or projects I want to continue working on, but whatever the fire is that day or whatever the need is that day, you kind of have to be able to pivot. That's Angie's word we've been talking about, and just be ready to address what's in your face that day. What do you think, Angie?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we're a kind of a small, tight team, and so you have to be able to step in wherever is needed. So I've been lucky enough to help Michelle down at the Elliott Katz lectures down in Bonita every other Thursday. Just helping.
Yeah, a typical day like that looks like waking up really early,
Right.
setting it up,
Mm-hmm.
greeting all of our guests.
Yep.
Angie, I would be counting the money while Angie was giving the welcome, and then she usually has some meeting, and clean it up, bring it home. Manny joins us for that, but we just finished that, so that feels good.
Shout out to Elliot Katz, by the way. Can you talk a little bit just about the Elliot Katz series? What is it? What was it like, and how did it go?
We here at Hodges University, we have a small department called the Center for Lifelong Learning, and you tell me, Angie.
Francis Pugh Hayes.
Francis Pugh Hayes, and so we provide some continuing education in mostly the forms of lectures for the majority of people who live in Florida, the senior citizens. Maybe is that do
Sure.
they like being referred to that way?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're the senior living communities, assisted living communities. We are able to bring lecture series into the communities where people don't have the mobility to always get out and go someplace. So we have a woman by the name of Peg Riley who facilitates those lectures and brings them into the community. And
The Elliot Katz thing is a little different. Angie and I both came into it when we came to Hodges. It was already going. This one we just finished was our 11th year.
Wow. Wow, 11 years?
Yeah, and it's definitely morphed and changed over the years. We used to partner with the Holocaust Museum for a short time. But Mr. Katz loves Hodges, and he is a passionate man. He was a criminal defense attorney in New York City as his career, and him and his wife, Susan, have retired down to Naples. And he spends time every year researching 7 topics, not always, a lot of them around World War II, not always about the Holocaust, though. And then he works with Manny, who's a IT AV person here, guru, like the man at Hodges University. I'm sure you've worked with him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so him and Elliot, he really supports Elliot. We call Manny the Elliot Whisperer. Anyways, he supports him in putting together a really great presentation. We're partnering with St. Leo's Catholic Church in Bonita Springs. So they have a beautiful facility, and most of our attendees are coming up from Naples, and we're just trying to get the word out in Bonita and Fort Myers. So there you have it, 7 lectures.
And Michelle ushers them along with grace
she does.
and loveliness, and it's always a wonderful experience for sure.
Yes, I got a chance to attend a couple of the lectures, and honestly, I was surprised how much I learned.
Yeah.
And how long I sat there with big eyes, just like, what?
He's good, isn't he?
Yes,
People
good.
come out of the
It's
elevators emotionally moved.
Yes.
Which is pretty
Like,
amazing.
I didn't expect that. It's a legit presentation, like a whole thing. It was pretty cool. Shout out to Elliot Katz.
Yeah, he's a good man.
Very
Hey,
cool.
you're
Other
listening
energy.
to the HUP, the Hodges University podcast, your podcast for everything Hodges and more. Available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I don't have that. I'm an Apple girl. Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube. And guess what? On Apple, since I'm an Apple girl, you can go ahead and just subscribe.
Look at that.
And then it comes up in your latest
Wow,
episode.
look
So
at
I
that.
know all about this.
Even tells you, hey, new episode.
I'm addicted to podcasts, and I like this being in my run of
Look
listening.
at that.
Follow us at Hodges University social media. Our handles are at Hodges U or Hodges University. And you can always find us too at www.hodges.edu/HUP.
All righty. If you are still listening, we thank you so much for being here. If you're still here, you might as well stay here. Keep listening to The HUP right here on YouTube. I'm your host, TJ, and I am here with some very VIP special extraordinary guests, Michelle Zamniak and Angie Manley, from Hodges University. Ladies, how you feeling? You feeling okay? So far, so good? How you guys?
Okay, so far so good.
This has been fun,
I thought
TJ.
it's been
I
great.
like
It has,
You're
man.
awesome.
This has been a great show, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I'm glad the listeners are enjoying it as well. So let's get into kind of the last part of the show. How about we give out some advice for the listeners? Let's start with some professional advice. Like I said, you ladies are some very extraordinary ladies. You hold some very high level positions. What kind of advice you got to you have for someone who's blindly or who is following your footsteps blindly, or I guess unblindly
With intention.
Yes, thank
Consciously,
you for that.
yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
What kind of advice you got for those ladies?
When he gave us this question, I wasn't too sure about it because you don't think of people
Nope.
like looking at you and following you. So it kind of made me think. Thank you, TJ. You have to. We keep talking about this, being willing to change, step up, be gritty. Don't be afraid to get in there because. The day in our life, Angie, you were talking about, like, you come into a job and you think you're going to do one thing, right?
Yeah.
And then it turns out to be totally different than what you thought.
Yeah. You got to be able to ebb and flow.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to go with it. You have to keep your ears and eyes open, take a look around, listen to people, see what they're wearing, see what they're saying, just in some of the basic ways, right? But the other way I think that it's so important, too, is professionally, I would say, always be willing to give people credit when their credit is due. That's the most important thing that I've learned as a leader, is that if somebody has an idea, make sure that person gets recognized for that idea. Never claim something that isn't your own, because I think there's an integrity in that always shines through at the end of the day.
Absolutely. That's some great advice. That's awesome. And I'm sure someone is in that position right now as we speak and they're like, So, yeah, that's some awesome advice.
Yeah, and don't take things personally. I think that's another important thing for the workplace, like just in life in general. When somebody, when you have that feeling that you get from the way someone spoke to you, or if the email felt a little abrupt, or maybe you weren't recognized, it's not usually about you. It's generally about what that person has going on with them. So give your colleagues a little grace once in a while, and try not to take things so personally.
That's good.
Yeah, that is good. That's some awesome advice. And I'm pretty sure that's kind of how you ladies got in the positions that you are in. And that's easy advice. It sounds easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, it sounds, especially giving credit. Sometimes it's hard to give credit sometimes.
Well, I think everybody has wonderful traits, and I think we also just need to sit back and observe them sometimes and let them come to fruition. I work with two great people, Chris Parfit and Lisa Osario, that do incredible work in the advancement department, and half the time, I'm sure what they are doing might get unsung, but they are so appreciated because they do step up and they do what they're asked in terms of what their position requires.
Wow. It's great to have coworkers like that.
It really is great to have coworkers like that.
Oh, we're not all perfect all the time. We all have our days.
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole point, is that letting people have their days too.
Right.
Because not everyone's going to be cheery and upbeat and feel good, and something's going to happen in their life outside of work. And I think as humans, that's what we just have to recognize, is that we're all of these things. We're not just one-dimensional.
Right. That was, speaking of it sounding easy, TJ. I mean, when I was a young professional, we did this. I worked with a great leader, and she did professional growth plans with us. And something that I worked on, it was on there for 10 years, I think.
Wow.
I worked with young children, and it was really easy to accept the developmental stage that the children were at. That came really naturally to me. But my teacher colleagues and some of the parents, I was like, they're adults. Like, what is going on? Why? But I learned that everybody is on their own journey of personal and professional development, and you have to kind of accept where that person is in their journey, and respect what they might be going through, and just like you would a child who's learning to walk.
Yep, and maybe offer some help, some resources.
Yeah, resources.
On the way there.
Yeah, just like a shoulder, an office chair to come in and get some counseling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Michelle's my therapist.
In our team meeting earlier, our marketing team meeting, we were talking about mentoring and mentorship. And I brought up the fact, I told one of the people in the team meeting how they were a mentor to me, and they didn't know it. And I brought the fact that a lot of mentors don't know that they're mentoring. I think that's a funny dynamic that you can call someone a mentor and they don't know. They don't know that they're even mentoring you.
Do you think
that's great though?
Yeah,
isn't
it
it?
is. Well,
I
do you
think
think
that's awesome?
Would it change the dynamic if they knew?
Yes, because it gives it a motive now. Like, okay, are you? No, I don't know. I think it's better when they don't know.
Right.
It kind of.
Because sometimes I've seen some workplaces will assign a mentor, or I know the faculty often will have like a mentee, a new faculty member that they bring up. But I like what you're saying, that if it's not like something you're told to do,
exactly,
that it might seem more organic and real.
More of that level.
Yeah,
yes.
that's pretty cool.
I was like, I'm your mentor. Like, yeah, like I know you probably don't know, but yeah, you kind of been mentoring me. You don't even know it. So shout out to all the mentors too out there. Very nice. Something very important about this university is the students.
Yeah.
The students are kind of a big deal because that's what makes the university go. So my next point is, what kind of advice do you have kind of for our students that we have now and for the students that we have coming in the future? What kind of advice do you have for them from your current position?
Well, I usually deal with alumni,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't really deal with as many current students as Michelle would, per se. But I think.
But you were a Hodges student.
But
which
I
gives
was
you
a Hodges student.
advantage.
You're right. You're
Mm-hmm.
right. I think for any student, particularly ours, who may be working while they're taking classes, while raising families, while doing a myriad of other daily things, is to give themselves some patience and a pat on the back every once in a while, and seek out help when you need help, but also to not confuse passion. And I heard this on a podcast, so I'm repeating it.
A podcast other than this?
I know. I think there was one out there. I don't know really. It could have just been on the radio.
Maybe.
About confusing passion with what your job is, kind of thing. And someone was saying that, follow your passion. It's like, well, if your passion can put bread on the table, then maybe that you follow your passion. Don't lose your passion, but keep your passion and your work kind of in sight of one another, because work is not always going to be fun. So even if you are following your passion, there's going to be parts of that are going to really stink.
Yeah, it's not my passion.
Right. Even if you want to be a nurse or a physical therapy assistant or whatever it is you're pursuing, or Juris Masters, there's aspects, there's papers, there's the drudgery of reading or testing and all of these things. And just realize that those are tasks that will end, but your passion will continue on once you clear those hurdles.
Awesome. Wow.
No, does that sound okay?
Angie, you're so funny.
No, because that's an interesting perspective. Knowing that you deal with alumni not directly, with the students, that's an interesting perspective.
Well, all jobs are going to change.
Yep.
So you can graduate with a degree in something or a certificate in something, but until you get into that work environment, you don't really know what you signed up for. It's not going to always be the same thing. And that's where you said, Michelle, earlier about, kind of being willing to ebb and flow and go with the flow of things. And that's the advice I'd give to any student is to go with the flow of whatever it is, even when you're in class.
Yeah, and my advice is similar to that. I've been working with students for many, many years now, and it's always the same advice. Here's the deal. You are doing yourself a disservice if all you're doing is focusing on the curriculum that you're learning and trying to pass the test. because education, in your experience here at Hodges and whatever environment that you're in, is not just about what's in the book. It's about all of the periphery things. So you have to learn to navigate your way through the system of higher ed to even get to, how to register for classes, right? And we've added this new screening for our EMTs. They're going to have to get through this whole screening process. And people think they're going to come to school or come do this quick training and get their job and they're just going to come learn. Yep. But there are many ancillary things attached to that are going to get you where you need to go. And the relationships with your instructors and your clinical sites and coordinators, to focus on those things too. And the people even here, like in student accounts, and you might need a friend in the registrar's office one day. You never know. You never know because... Yeah, I would say that.
I think you just described a really good Bloody Mary. A lot of things mixing into that.
Seriously, wow.
Yeah,
I like jalapenos in mine sometimes.
It's not just one thing, right? Fill your cup up with all these things. Make sure it's full with all the experiences.
Well, I have a student. He's I've known him since he started. We started kind of at the same time, and he often comes to my office and he gets real frustrated that he's not getting the best grade. And I said, does it really? I mean, we're 50. We're in our 50s. He's the student. And I'm like, not all places are going to look at your transcript to see if you got an A or a B. So sometimes what he's learning may be just that it's not the most important thing to get 100%, that he's still going to be okay if he gets an 85.
It's going to be okay.
Right. He is going to be okay.
Wow, that's
so Eric, if you're listening,
it's going to be okay. Wow, and that's a powerful line to tell someone that it's going to be okay. Now that can be a powerful line depending on who it's coming from. Like someone just putting their hand on your shoulder and saying it's going to be okay. Just trust me. And that's the feeling I get from you two ladies. Like when you tell me it's going, I feel that from you. Like,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's the mom in us.
Is that what it is? I love moms, I guess. I don't know.
Oh,
we do too.
Yes, but I've learned so much today.
Oh, good.
That's a huge reason we do this podcast. I know if I learned something.
For your learning?
Yes. I know if I learned something, I know, one listener, maybe two listeners learned something as well. So, ladies, thank you for adding and giving us all that you gave us today.
TJ, thank you for just being so open to having this conversation and facilitating it. You're excellent.
Thank you.
We are so lucky to have you.
Thank you. And I've been waiting for this. So I'm so glad we were able to sit down and have this conversation about not only Hodges, but about you ladies as well. And you ladies in a great position that you are in to advance the university. And you making yourselves look good as well. You guys look good while doing it.
Thanks.
I have to add that. I'm sorry about that. I guess this is the time of the show where we give out some shout-outs. I know we did a lot of name dropping already, but we can double back. That's fine. But you have any hawk-outs or any shout-outs to give? That can be someone inside of Hodges or it can be someone outside of Hodges as well. But is there anyone you guys want to shout out today?
Well, I got to shout out to my team again. Lisa Osario and Chris Parfit.
Yes, huge shout out
to
them.
Yeah, they rock. They're the best. But I also want to give a shout out to Thelma Hodges. So Miss Thelma is a constant inspiration for everything that I do, and I am blessed to be able to spend, maybe one day a month or so with her, and we go out to lunch, and I learn so much from her on just how to be a good human.
Yes.
And I'm so lucky that she's our namesake, and love that.
I've been to one of those lunches before. She's fun. She's fun.
I've heard about them. That's what's crazy. I've heard about these lunches.
Man. Yeah. We might be able to get you.
I'm not sure.
Very VIP, extraordinary guest, I guess.
I have a shout out or a hawk out. Is that what you're calling? Hawk shout out. Mm-hmm. So there's a person at this institution who has kind of been my constant and always there for me. David Sanchez.
Shout out to Dave.
David has
awesome.
This man has moved so many offices in the last 6 years. We've moved out of 2 buildings. He hangs art for us and reconfigures our desks. He paints walls. He carries heavy things. And he always smiles. He's always positive. He's always kind.
Always.
And he makes you feel safe and like things are going to get done. So thank you, David.
Yeah,
That's
shout out
awesome.
to Dave. And when you explain those things, I think people are just saying like, yeah, he does this. No, people, he really lasered the wall. If you want something hung up on the wall, he will laser the wall to where it is hung up at the most pristine way possible. Like, he does not play. When it comes to these jobs and projects that Dave has to do, he does them proficiently and does it with a smile. I love Dave.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
He works in our facilities department, and
Yes.
he has a passion for excellence.
Yes, he
And
does.
I think that if we could all do our jobs like that man, we would be, we continue to grow.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
I agree. Very nice.
All right.
Like, it's been a pleasure, ladies.
Well, this has been great.
It has been
Not as painful as
awesome.
I thought.
I told you.
I know.
Yeah, so
I
fun.
told you. It has been
I know.
awesome. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We had a great show. I was joined today by Hodges' very own Michelle Zamniak and Angie Manley. We talked about so many great things. You guys got to hear who they are. You know, some guilty pleasures. We talked about a day in a life. We talked about, you know, their position that they are in and how they're doing them, and a little bit of advice to how, you know, how to get in their shoes, kind of, sort of. So I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed the lovely guests that we had today. This was episode 4. What's up?
What's up? Wow, that was fun.
Do you think it'll be harder to edit with 2 people? Did it go how you thought it would go?
So won't be.
What do you
I know if you need to
what do you
redo
envision,
something.
like for your guests? Like, I'd like to come back.